Some of you told me not to do it, others dared me to do it, so here we are. Is this Revoltech Venom KO good or bad? Let's find out. Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're gonna take a look at amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Venom knockoff that I got from AliExpress. In case you want to do the same, link for where I got it is down in the video description. So the original figure, same as this KO, is now an older release. This guy is on AliExpress for years, and because I recently started loving these Revoltech KOs, I became interested in this one as well. When I recently asked you guys if I should get it, some of you told me not to do it because it's really bad, and some of you dared me to do it. And so, because he was around 17 euros, something like that, I decided to try my luck. Maybe it will end up being surprisingly good, or maybe it will fall apart right away. Either way, it will be a fun content, so join me and together let's see what we have here. First, a quick look at the packaging. It's that older style with a design that is all over the place and a big window showing the figure and some of the accessories. Here we have a nice promo shot of the figure and some comic book art. I guess this guy was number 3 in this line. Because this is an AliExpress KO purchase, the box arrived damaged like this, but it's not a big deal. I want to see the figure. I don't care that much about the box. Here is how one side looks. Back of the box shows more promo shots of the figure, designed like a comic book page. And here they show face expressions and the accessories. Other side shows a nice render of the figure in a dynamic pose. Nothing special at the top, some warnings at the bottom. So now, let's free this Venom from the box. Here is our Venom out of the box, and to be honest, I went into this review with a really low expectation. I was expecting for this figure to fall apart straight out of the box, but I have to say that I'm pleasantly surprised because not only that it stayed together, but there are no extremely loose joints here either. Of course, the sculpt is not perfect. There are imperfections in plastic and the paint job is not the best. There is some chipping and bleeding. That is no surprise, I always expect that on a KO, but for the joints to not be loose on this guy, that's a real surprise for me. I've seen other reviews and people mostly had issues with his torso that was really loose. But look at this. When I shake the figure, nothing is flopping. That's interesting. Now, if you are watching this because you plan on getting it and loose joints were your only concern, you know how that goes with KOs. Yes, nothing is loose on my copy, but I can't guarantee that you will get the same thing. I hope you will, but you never know. You will have to try your luck the same way that I did mine. The overall design and aesthetic of this figure will not be attractive to everyone. It wasn't back in the day when the original was released, and it probably isn't now all these years later. I had my time with getting used to Revoltech figures, but now I love them because of the articulation range. And I also wanted to get a big, bulky looking Venom that poses well. The color on this guy is like a dark metallic purple. It's not a simple black color. Taking a closer look at the details, here is how the head looks. The sculpt is not bad at all for a KO. I did just notice that the jaw is maybe kind of loose, but not so much that you can't close the mouth. They will stay like that. Top of the head is a removable piece, because he comes with an alternate piece that has a different shape of eyes, different expression, but we'll get to that in a minute. The teeth and the gums could be painted better, but it's not terrible. Here is how the inside of his mouth looks. There is a metallic pin in the jaw that serves as an articulation point. And this peg hole is for the tongue that we'll see in a bit. But all in all, I'm satisfied with how the head looks. For me, this is good enough. Here is a closer look at his arms that do look good with these small tentacles sculpted in and poking out. If those bother you, unfortunately, you can't do anything about that unless you cut them off. But the sculpted veins going across the whole body look really nice. Here is a closer look at the torso with Venom spider symbol, and you can see that the paint job is not the best. There is some fuzziness, a little bit of misprint, and it's like that on the back as well. It's not terrible, but it's not perfect either. Again, it's a KO, so we can't ask for it to be perfect. Lower torso is a floating piece, but again, it's not loose, so that's good. Here is a look at his crotch, and then Venom's butt, and here, especially on the edges, you can see the imperfection in plastic. You can easily sand that down, I'm just pointing out that it's there. And then a closer look at his short but veiny many legs from the front and from the back. And here again we have more of this plastic that needs to be sanded down. And then finally here are Venom's feet. Let's now take a look at his accessories. He comes with a stand that you need to assemble yourself. It is molded in the black plastic, so it's not translucent, but it's always good to get a stand. He comes with his tongue, and it's a nicely sculpted piece, and even the way that it's painted, there is like a gloss, a shine on it, so that's good. We have a Revoltech joint on this end to peg it into his mouth, and we can try to do that. Let's see if this will fit. Yes, this is looking fantastic. And because it's on a Revoltech joint, it can swivel side to side, and you can also twist it, rotate it, you know, up and down, so you'll get some nice expressiveness out of this Venom. He comes with an alternate headpiece. It's a simple piece of plastic that has differently shaped eyes, so this will give you a different face expression for your Venom. And to put them on the figure, we simply remove this piece, and then you simply peg the alternate piece on, and this is how that looks. So on this expression the eyes are more even, while on the first one eye was more open than the other one. I do have to point out that the connection for this alternate headpiece is not perfect. As you can see, it doesn't sit flush on the head, so there is a little bit of work to be done on this. Then he comes with two pairs of Venom tentacles. We have a pair of longer ones and a pair of shorter ones, and compared side by side you can see the difference in length and size. So these are the two options that we get. And to put these into the figure, we have these standard Revoltech peg holes on the back, and you get 5 in total, but this one, the middle one, is meant to be used for the stand, so we get 2 of the peg holes on each side. And let's see if these will actually fit into these peg holes, because I remember seeing some reviewers in the past having a lot of trouble with connecting these to the body. Well, there you go. I didn't have any issues with the connection, and I was able to do this even without heating up the plastic. The articulation works as well, so that's good news. I'm pleased to say that this works and it looks beautiful. I should also point out that the bigger tentacles have peg holes in them, so these smaller ones can be pegged here, so you can have like a double tentacle on each side. Now, before I get into his articulation, first I would like to share with you guys an issue that I had with this figure. It's more of an accident than an issue, because I broke it. I broke the torso joint. It was partially because the joint was so stiff and you could hear that clicking sound when you move it, but it was mostly my fault because I knew how stiff it was and I pushed it too far and it snapped. I should have been more careful. I always tell you guys to heat up the plastic before moving the joints, and now I myself didn't listen to my own advice. But I didn't panic because it's a cheap KO, and I took my time, and I think that I fixed it. What I did is I drilled a small hole in both pieces, inserted a small piece of wire, connected the two parts, glued them with a super glue, and then gave it an extra support by supergluing a piece of rubber band around the joint where it snapped. I left it all to dry overnight and put the figure back together, and so far everything works. In fact, before putting everything back together, I took this accident as a lesson, and I pulled out the head joint and all the shoulder and elbow joints that were also very stiff and hard to move, and I've put few drops of oil on them just to loosen them up a little bit. And now the movement feels much better. Nothing is still loose on this figure. I should have done that right away. That would save me from breaking the torso joint, but it is what it is. Sometimes you have to do something stupid so that you can learn, and in this case you guys can learn on my mistake. Okay, moving forward with the articulation on this guy. As we already saw, the jaw is articulated, so he can open his mouth like this and close them a little bit. The jaw also tilts side to side, and then the tongue is on that small ball joint and also hinges side to side, rotates, moves up and down, goes in all directions. The head can look side to side. We have a great tilt together with the neck, and the head rotates. He can look down very far. Look at this. This is fantastic. And then he can look up this much. We have that awkward Revoltech butterfly joint that moves forwards and back. In the shoulders we have a big Revoltech ball joint, and this is where we get our forwards and back movement, rotation. The arm can rotate 360. It can go out all the way. There is no bicep swivel here, but we do have a swivel in the elbow. Elbow bends in all the way. Then we have a swivel in the wrists, and they hinge in all directions. This guy also doesn't come with alternate hands. Instead, he has articulated fingers. So the thumb is articulated, and then these first two fingers are separated and the last two fingers are sculpted together. So you can practically have your Venom showing a middle finger to Spider-Man. As we already saw, the tentacles have few articulation points. One is here at the base, and then the other one is in the middle. And so there you will get a hinge and a rotation, and it's like that here in the middle as well. The scariest part for me is now, of course, the torso that I broke, but as I said, I think that I was able to fix it. So now he has the same articulation that he had before. Here we have two cuts. One is here and the other one is down here, even though this is, as I said, a floating piece. And Venom can crunch forward this much. Look at this. This is crazy range. But back he bends only this much. This limitation has nothing to do with me breaking the joint. It was like that even before the breakage. We do get a swivel, but, and this I assume is because of the breakage, not much side to side tilt. Even though I could get that if I would again open the torso and rotate the joint here at the base. Legs go out this much, they go forwards and back. We have a tie cut, but it really doesn't do much in a neutral pose. It is there for when you articulate the legs forward. That's where the rotation will kick in. But in a neutral stand, I'm not sure if something's stuck on mine or what, but I can't get any more movement out of it. Knees bend this much, there is no cut in the lower legs, but we get a swivel in the ankles. Feet move forward only slightly, but they move back much more. We have a toe joint and a generous ankle pivot. So all in all, the articulation on this guy, even though it's an older sculpt, there are some limitations, but it's not bad at all, and it's for a KO much better than what I was expecting. Let's now compare this guy to some other figures. Here is how he scales with the CT Toys knockoff of amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Agent Venom and an AliExpress KO of Marvel Legends Retro Carded Venom. Here is how he scales with the KO of amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Carnage and AliExpress KO of Mafex Venom. Here he is next to the original Marvel Legends Retro Carded Symbiote Spidey and the City Toys knockoff of Mafex Symbiote Spidey. Here he is with two more City Toys knockoffs. We have him next to the 185 Spider-Man and number 001, the Amazing Spider-Man. And with City Toys Spidey figures being smaller than the originals, I think that this works perfectly with this Venom. Here is how he scales with the original Mafex 185 Spidey and the original Sentinel Peter B. Parker. Here he is with the original SH Figure Arts Tom Holland Spider-Man and an AliExpress KO of amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech 2.0 Deadpool. Here is how he scales with the two City Toys KOs of Mafex Wolverine. And just for fun, here he is to the Star Wars The Black Series Imperial Stormtrooper and Mafex Dark Knight Joker, and I think that this is the 2.0 version. So there you guys go. That was my review of amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Venom knockoff from AliExpress. As I've said at the beginning, I went into this review with a low expectations because of mixed thoughts that I've heard from other people before I got this figure. But I ended up being pleasantly surprised by his look and articulation. The aesthetic of this line is, again, not for everyone, but if it is for you and you want a big bulky monster-looking Venom in your collection that can hit some insanely dynamic poses and you missed out on the original, this KO could be for you. Of course, because it's a KO and there's no quality control here, I can't guarantee that your copy will be the same as mine. Maybe it will be, maybe it will be better, and maybe it will be worse. I will leave a link down in the video description for where I got this guy, so in case you want to do the same, you can use that one. If I ignored the fact that I pushed the figure too far and broke the torso joint, I think that this turned out to be a very good knockoff. Maybe I feel like that just because I expected the worst, but the fact is that there are no loose joints here. The figure does not fall apart and it holds any pose that you want from it. The plastic feels good. Yeah, there is some paint bleeding and plastic imperfections that need to be sanded down, but that's what you expect from a KO. And for a price under 20 euros, I would say that this is a win. I have no idea if this is a new run of Venom KOs. Maybe these are better than they were a few years back. That's something that I obviously can't know for sure, but I do know that I ended up being satisfied with what I got. But those were all just my thoughts, and now I would love to hear yours. Let me know, what do you guys think about this KO? Are you as surprised by the quality as I am, or do you think that it's still bad? Have you ever broke your figure and were you able to fix it? Do you maybe plan on getting this KO or not? Do you have the original? Let me know all of it down in the comments. As always, a huge thank you goes to my Patreon supporters for helping me to keep the channel alive. If anyone else can join and help, please do so, because everything that I earn over there goes into the future channel content. If you're interested, Patreon link is in the description. I also offer a channel membership for 99 cents per month. You can support the channel and help me to get more figures that you want me to review. So if you can, join and become a channel member. And if not, that's also okay. You are still helping simply by watching and sharing my videos. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being here with me, and I'll see ya in the next video.